Hi guys, this is going to be a tutorial on Mo's Abloy Classic simulator. Um, Mo is a very talented and quite active lock sporter in the community, and recently he came out with this simulator which basically takes all of the fun from picking an Abloy uh, onto your screen, so you don't have to make the tool, which does take some time or a lot of money. So, in this case, you can see here all of the instructions. Click on the game to focus it, escape to unfocus, works on desktop and mobile on modern browsers. It does work on my phone just fine, but this is on my computer. You can move the mouse around to turn the pick, this. Heavy tension is applied by default. That is to say, we're going to be finding binders by default, and where you will hold left click, shift control, or enter, and we'll be able to remove tension so that we can spin them into gates. False gates, when binding, have less jiggle to them than true gates. This is just like in real life. Unlike real abloys, which bind mostly back to front, this simulation is totally random. So we'll see that, interestingly. We see that the bidding follows the factory pattern of 0, 0, 5, and then 6. Is that 6? Sorry, 7 randomly cut discs with the same cut unable to appear 3 times in a row. The rearmost 0 disc is being tensioned off of. So we're tensioning off of 1. That is to say, 2 is a 0 as well. Oh, sorry. No, the rearmost 0 disc is being tensioned off of. 1 is a 0, 2 is a 5. 2 is guaranteed to be a 5. And in fact, it is our binder. You'll see that when we go through this, this pick is based on a real-life decoder for the Abloy Classic. So you'll see that this binds, and I'm actually unable to go more than about a third of the way, maybe a quarter even, of the way down between 0 and 1. If we go to 3, which isn't binding, you can see that it actually spins freely without me removing tension. So, as it says, I will remove tension. You can see the tension tip move a bit as I press left click, and I will move this to the 1 and 2 position, and we'll see that this on 2 goes very close to 0 and very close to 2. This tells us that it's in a gate. It's probably the true gate, but we'll have to see because it is the first one that we've checked. So we're looking at 3, and when we see that 3 is completely free, we know that that is not binding. Same thing for 4. 5, here, it shows us that it's in a gate between 0 and 1. That is to say that it is cut to 0. We won't mess with that. We'll go to 6, and 6 is binding. You can see, again, when it only has a tiny bit of play. So we'll move it between 1 and 2, and we will once again get that same amount of play as we did in disc 3, which was binding, and we can see that it is in a gate again. So we'll go to 7. 7 also isn't binding and is in a gate. 8 is not binding and is in a gate. 9 is binding, so we'll bring that to 1 and 2, and we'll see that it is in a gate. We don't want to touch 0 at the end here, because 0 is always set to just be default. So basically what we can do is always, we can preset 2 to the maximum cut of 5, because we know no matter what, on every single Abloy Classic that exists in this simulator as well in real life, Disc 2, in this case Disc 3 technically, but we're tensioning off with the rearmost disc, Disc 2 is always a 5 cut. So we can always safely do that, and then we can look at the other discs. So 3 still isn't binding, 4 isn't binding, 5 isn't, but 6 is. So 6 previously had more play in it, but you'll see how it only goes about halfway now instead of about 3/4 of the way, right? On 5, how it went nearly 3/4 of the way to 1. This only goes halfway. So we'll go up to 2 and 3, and it's completely binding. We're in a false gate again because you can see it only goes about halfway between 2 and 4. So we'll check 4. Doesn't like that. We'll check 5. And now it goes nearly all the way to 4 and over 5. So we'll do this again. 7 isn't binding. 8 isn't binding. 9 isn't binding. So we'll go back. And we'll go back to 3. 3 isn't binding. 4 isn't binding. 5 is binding. You can see we're in a false gate. So we'll move it to 1 and 2. Still not. We're in a false gate again. You can see again halfway to 1, halfway to 3. So we'll go to 3 and 4. Still not. Here we go. Nearly to 5, nearly to 3. That means we're in probably the true gate. So we'll check 6 again. 6 is fine. 7. We'll check. Up and down. And we find that nearly 1, nearly 3. That's probably the true gate. 8 needs to be checked. And there we go. We see nearly 1, nearly 3. 9 is fine. So we'll go back. And we'll go all the way back to 3, which is binding now. Not that. Probably this. 4, and we're open. So that took 4 minutes 52. You can see the bidding here. 005. The first 0 technically doesn't matter because we're tensioning off of that. Abloy Classics in real life, you can also front tension if you want. It's a bit nasty too, but you can. It's just easier to back tension. And you can see here, just as the rules state, the same card is unable to appear 3 times in a row. We have 2 sets of 2-2, but never 3 in a row. So I hope that this has been instructive. We'll put a link to this tool in the description. And in general, the Abloy Classic in real life is a relatively inexpensive disc detainer lock. It's quite tricky, as we saw in this simulator, but what you learn here is very, very applicable in real life. Hopefully I will be getting my video out where I pick an Abloy Classic very soon. And yeah, I'll be able to apply what I've shown here in this video on that. Thank you all for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day.